Hello first year string players. This is a review of our last lesson, and this week we learned two very important skills. The first thing we talked about was how to tune your instrument, which I know a lot of students were very excited about. And I'm not going to go super in depth on that here because we actually watched a different video to teach us how to tune. It was one of my videos that we watched. We could see the tuner a little bit more clearly, so we used that in our lesson. And I will link that video in the Google Classroom along with this video. So if you'd like a refresher, you can go back and watch that. If you weren't in the lesson, you should go watch it for the first time to make sure you can get full, complete directions about how to tune. A couple of quick reminders: if you are a violin, viola, or cello, please do not touch the pegs. I don't want you tuning with these. That's something we will learn later. Not this year though, because it's a little bit more challenging. So I just want you tuning with the fine tuners down here. If you get into a situation where you need my help, please still bring it to me. If the string is loose, if the tuner is reading a different pitch than the note of the string, all of those things will require me to turn the pegs, and so just bring it to me the way we've been doing it, and I'll get it tuned up for you and leave it in the classroom. Also remember that every student needs some sort of a device to tune with at home. So in Google Classroom, I put a link, a parent square. I sent a link to purchasing this tuner. It's $25 on Amazon. If you do purchase one of these, I would recommend writing your name on the back so that it doesn't get confused with the tuners I have at school, or you could just keep this one at home because I have plenty at school for us to use. If you are not in a position to purchase this, that's totally fine. Remember, there is also a free tuning app that you can download on an iPad or an iPhone, and that will work just as well. In fact, that's what I use most often, is the tuning app on my phone. So that's tuning. Everyone did a great job with their first time tuning in class, and we will get better at it as we go along. The second thing that we learned in our lesson is something called the D major scale. And everyone should have their Do, Re, Mi worksheet out. It's the colorful one with planets on it. And before we even look at that, I will remind you that a D major scale basically means that we're starting on the note D, and we're playing every note in between until we get to another D. Now, if you weren't in the lesson, you've only ever learned how to play one D. And so we're going to get there. There's two new notes that we have to learn. And as we get to them, I'll show you how to play them, and you'll realize this is actually a piece of cake. Now, a D major scale isn't just something we do in our first year of lessons. This is something that we're going to continue to do in middle school and even in high school. So this is a really important skill to learn, to understand. Most of you by the end of this week should have this pattern of notes memorized. And next week, we're going to continue working with major scales, and I will expect you to have it memorized next week. So let's take a look at our music. This is set up in a little bit of a unique format. You normally don't see music set up like this, but every other measure is a sing measure. So you have sing and then play, and then sing and then play. The reason they do this is because there are a lot of notes. There's 8 notes in the D major scale, so they want to give you a measure in between to have time to get your fingers down. That's part of it. The other reason is it gives you a chance to practice reading the notes. Now, I'm not going to make you sing them, but I am going to ask that you either say them out loud or say them in your head, because by saying those note names and looking at the music, it's going to start forming connections in your brain for how to read those notes. By the end of this year, I expect all of you to be confident in reading these 8 notes. And so as you're playing, you should be looking at those notes, and you have one measure to just say what they are while you're getting your fingers down, and just saying them is going to help form those connections. So please make sure you are doing that part. Let's go from the beginning. We'll talk about how to play each note, and then there are a couple new ones we'll learn about, and then we will play all the way through this. So the first measure, the say measure, I'll call it say even though it says sing, it is open D for everyone. So D, 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 and then we play Ds. Next is E, 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 E. This is played the same for everybody. It's one finger on the D string, E. Not your open E if you're a violin or a bass. It's one finger on the D string. Next, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. This is different for everybody, but it's on the D string for all of us. 2 fingers for violin, viola, 3 fingers for cello, 4 fingers for bass. Next, measure 7, G, 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 G. Don't get confused. It's not the open G unless you're bass, right? Bass is always a little bit different. So bass, this is your open G string. But for everyone else, don't travel down to open G. This is either 3 fingers on D for violins and violas or 4 fingers on D for cello. That's measures 7 and 8. Then we have A. Violin, viola, cello. This is your open A string. Bass, this is 1 finger on the G string. Next, B. This was the note we learned for Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Violin, viola, and cello all play it the same way. It's 1 finger on the A string. Just like how you play the note E, B is the same thing but on the A string. Okay? Now we're at measure 13. This is where we hit the new notes. C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp. Violins and violas, C sharp is 2 fingers on the A string, just like how you'd play F sharp. Same deal for cello. 3 fingers on the A string is C sharp, the same way you'd play F sharp on the D string. For bass, you need to do something called shifting or moving your hand up to get to this note. It's going to be easier for us to talk about it in class. I will show you in your lesson, but just remember, if you're watching this after the lesson, your hand moves up, and C sharp is with your 2nd finger. You play 2 fingers on that C sharp sticker. And then finally in measure 15, this is the last or the next D. Remember I said in the scale we go from 1 D to the next D. So in measure 15, this is another D, but it's not your open string. I tend to call this high D when we're talking about it because it's the higher D in the scale. So we have 4 Ds, violins and violas. This is 3 fingers on the A string. Cello, 4 fingers on the A string, and bass, we've already shifted up, and you put your, instead of having 2 for C sharp, you put 4 down for high D. Again, for bass, this is a little bit tricky. You're learning a new skill that we will talk about in lessons. Everyone else, this is the same as playing the notes on the D string, but you're just putting your fingers down on the A string. So hopefully that wasn't too challenging. Many students actually figured out how to play those notes before we even talked about them in class. So we now should be able to go through this whole thing because I know I just talked about half of it, but you can see all of the notes go up, and then after you get to high D, it just goes back down. So we can go from the beginning. There is a very fun and easy play along that goes with this that I will put in the Google Classroom, but right now I'm just going to say it on the measures where we don't play, and then we will play on the measures that we should play. Okay, so from the beginning, set that bow on the D string. Make sure you're saying these with me at home. 1, 2, here we go. D, 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 D. E, 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 E. F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. G, 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 G. A, 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 A. B, 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 B. C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp. D, 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 D. C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp. B, 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 B. A, 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 A. G, 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 G. F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. E, 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 E. D, 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 D. Excellent. We have that extra D whole note at the end to look out for. I hope this was not too challenging for anyone. Remember, even if this is easy when you're looking at the music, part of your job this week is to make sure you memorize this pattern. Next week, not only will I make you play it from memory, but all of those middle measures where you don't have to play are going away.
Can I have your attention, please?
Sorry, we just had an announcement. So not only are you playing it from memory, but we're also going to take out those middle measures. So we'll be playing straight in a row with no pauses. We're going to do something next week called a silly scale, which I know you're going to love. And I promise by the end of the year, these D major scales will be easy for you. We're working on playing them together, moving our bows at the same time, and playing them in tune, making sure our fingers are in the right place. All right? Thanks for all of your hard work this week. Everyone have a great day, and I will see you in your next lesson.